Hi everyone, I'm Ollie, and in this new After Effects tutorial we're going to see some motion graphic techniques that you can use in any of your projects. I'm sorry for not posting for a while, but now I'm back with a lot of cool stuff coming up. Also, a huge thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this tutorial. Okay, the first technique I want to show you is called snapping, or at least I call it snapping. I don't know if there is an official name. Anyway, we can see snapping as a twist on a match cut. We all know how a match cut works. You cut between two different states at the moment of highest velocity. For example, we have two circles, black and white. They shouldn't be able to intertwine because they are close-shaped. But let's see for a moment with a match cut how we can pull this off. We set the first position, then we set the final position. Later I show you how the intertwine effect is done, but for now let's focus on the movement. Then, right in the middle, I'm going to set a point of contact and then a point where they switch positions. After that, we take the position extremes and pull our handles so that the center of the action becomes the highest point of velocity. Cool, now we can see how with the match cut the impossible intertwining is solved by a very smooth and fast movement. With snapping instead we do kinda the opposite, because we want to emphasize the impossibility of the action and the weight of the movement. We want to sell the idea of two objects not quite fitting together, and to do so we simply put a little pause in the middle. So we anticipate the contact point by a few frames, so that we have a small break in the middle of the movement. Then we can adjust our curve to better show that there is a small impact, and then the position velocity slowly grows back up. Other than the position, we also want to affect the shape. We want to distort it, we want to push the concept of contact and friction. So I'm also going to animate the path of my two circles, keeping it as it is, just right before the contact, and then squashing it. Now for just a few frames we can see our shapes struggling to come together, but then they snap right through. Okay, we have our animation, but it doesn't really feel complete. That's because a key ingredient is missing, and I'm talking about sound. We need music, we need sound effects, and for that we have our sponsor Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound is the best sound tracking platform for creators. They have a huge catalog of premium music and sound effects created by real artists and real sound designers. So we just look for sound effect for each movement, download them, and match each sound with its action inside After Effects. This will make your animation more real and more powerful. Then, of course, we have music to bring everything together, and Epidemic Sound has just released a new feature called Adapt, which is an incredible AI-powered tool that makes it really easy to tweak a song so that it perfectly fits your content. Once you have selected the track, you can open the Adapt panel and instantly change the mood, either by using the suggested buttons or simply typing what you want. You can also rearrange the track section to match your edit, change the length to whatever you want, and even loop it. I really appreciate Epidemic Sound approach to AI because it's used to tweak and not to generate, and the artist is still at the center. So a huge thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. If you never want to worry about copyright claims, and if you want to try Adapt along with all the music and sound effects from Epidemic Sound, click the link in the description and use the code OLLY to get 30 days free plus 2 months at a 50% discount. Now let's see how we can intertwine elements together. If we have a setting like our light and dark circles and need to intertwine them, we could simply duplicate one of them, bring it forward, and create a mask only on the intersection area. And that totally would work, except that now you have an extra element on your timeline that needs to be accounted for. If you apply effects on it, they will behave as two different entities. So let's just delete the copied layer and see a better way to do it. Select the upper layer and apply the effect Set Matte. This effect will allow you to choose another layer as a matte, like you usually do in your timeline. So let's select the other circle and then click on Invert. Okay, now we want our matte effect to be applied only in one of the two overlapping areas. So let's apply a mask, and then you can go to the effect properties and click on compositing options. There you can click on add, and it will set the mask as the only area in which the effect is visible. If you've never used this option, what is happening is this. I'll cancel the set matte and use a fill effect so that it's more clear what we are doing. We apply the mask and then again add the mask reference in the compositing option. And as you can see with the fill color, it lets you apply an effect only inside or outside your mask without needing to duplicate the layer. This effect is great and can be used in a lot of different contexts, so let's mentally save it while I reset the set matte. After the part where the two circles snap together, I added this other part of the animation with the two circles getting back to the starting position. But for now, I just want to focus on the transparency effect that you see here. So to do it, you can just duplicate the layer of the white circle that is going to be visible through the black circle and bring it forward. Then we need it visible only on that small overlapped part, so just apply a set matte effect with the mask as we did before. Now that we have only the overlapped area visible, I'm going to apply a simple choke effect to reduce the area. For now, let's try with 50. And then also a fast box blur effect. This one, let's say at 20. The color seems a bit strong, so I'm also lowering the opacity. Same process again with the black circle. Duplicate it and invert the matte. Let's just copy the choke effect and the blur on this second layer. And again, let's lower the opacity as well. After that, I played around a little bit with the layer styles and added an inner glow and an inner shadow to give the two shapes a bit of depth. Then I also applied the same effect on the second part of the animation, with the only difference that here the mask needed to be animated. I didn't record this part because it was a bit tedious and more or less the same. But if you're curious, you can check out the project file on my download page, where also you will find all the tutorial files plus some useful stuff for your motion design project. Okay, now we have this animation of a stroke that stretches out and becomes two different circles. And it's literally just a stroke controlled by two nulls that get further away from each other. And then with the match cut we get two circles with the path animated going from flat to full. So how do we create our gradient split? We apply a gradient stroke to our stroke, and then position the gradient extremes at the two ends of the stroke. In the properties we have the start position and the end position, and we could start animating them to make the effect, but I already know that later I'm going to apply a null to animate the rotation of everything. So let's create one and see what happens. If we parent the stroke to the null and then we rotate the null, we can see that the stroke rotates accordingly, but the gradient ends stay where they are. So instead I want to create two null objects to control each of the gradient ends position. Let's position these null controllers where we want. Then we can select only the position parameters and then we can parent the gradient ends position to our nulls. As you can see, as almost every time when you parent only the position property, it doesn't match. If we increase the stroke size, you can see how the gradient is not positioned correctly. That's because one uses the composition space as reference, while the other uses the object position as reference. So we can just remove the parenting of the position and instead apply this expression that will maintain the same position of the nulls on the two ends. Just change the name of the controlling layer in the expression. Oops, I forgot to rename this one. And okay, good. Now the gradients perfectly follows the nulls. Now we can add some very basic position keyframes to the nulls so that they move closer to each other. We adjust the curves, and again this is also another match cut, so we put full velocity on the end and we're good. I'm also going to make visible again the layer style effects that I applied before, and here we have our final animation. Thanks very much for watching this tutorial. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments if there is some topic you would like to see a video about. A huge thanks again to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check the link in the video description if you want to test Adapt and all the music and sound effects from Epidemic Sound. Use the code OLLY to get 30 days free plus 2 months at a 50% discount. And I will see you in the next video.